To another edition of the Educated Ignorance Podcast. This is your NBA playoff round one predictions live on Facebook and YouTube. We want to thank everybody hanging out with us here today. The playoffs are finally, well, not tech, I guess 24 ish hours they'll be technically here. It is the final day of the NBA play in, and then tomorrow Magic, Cavs tip us off, and we are off and running for the NBA playoffs. We got so many things to talk about today. We've got a lot of different stuff to come at you with. We're going to break down every first round series. The initial thought was maybe we'll do an entire bracket preview, but that's a lot of stuff. Let's just keep it simple. Every first round series, we're going to give some stuff away, not actually, but some picks in the sense of what we have tonight. We have, I guess I'm just going to start calling him producer Danny now because that's what he's kind of turning into. He's hanging out with us down as well. He'll join us at the end of the show to talk some best bets. But this is the new format. This is probably the latest we'll start out of all of these, but starting on Monday, like this is today, we'll be back again Monday after mostly every single night of the playoffs. We will come on here. We'll talk about the night before and then previewing in short order the night that we're going to have. And we'll come in at the end with any bets, props, all of that good stuff going into the evening of playoff basketball. So, you know where to be right here every single night for the NBA playoffs. You can follow us on all of our socials up there right now on TikTok. Excuse me. I'm dying here. We are hammering finishing up our Elite Eight series today. Eventually, I still have to post that, but that'll be the our last positional group we go over for that. And starting next week, we'll do a first round mock draft every on TikTok as well. So we're posting stuff there every day. We're posting stuff on Twitter, on Facebook, on YouTube all the time. So join us there. We are also powered by two of our betting partners in Outlier and Beat the Book. We'll have more on them throughout the night here. And also, if you aren't following us on Twitter, as you can see up top, FFSQC, we are going to be posting our lock of the day, our play of the day, 4-0 on the week so far. We're trying to see if we can go the rest of the way. Also, there's there will be a potential giveaway. All of that information is on Twitter, so go ahead and peep that. All right, with all of that said, I think we did some housekeeping. Let's talk some basketball. Of course, tonight is the play-in, the 8-seed play-in games. You have the Bulls and the Heat and the Kings and the Pelicans. So those games, in a sense, I think will be won tonight by, I'm going out on a limb and picking the two road teams. I think, now listen, last year I picked the Heat to lose in the 8-seeded play-in, and they won and they went to the finals. I don't think that's going to happen again. We're going to talk when we're doing our predictions. We're going to talk kind of loosely about the 1-8 matchups, even though I have pretty strong feelings about them. Let's start out west. So I think tonight with no Zion and Brandon Ingram, I mean, who knows? I am insanely sad about the Zion injury. If I would, it just hurts my soul that he was having the game of his life, and then all of a sudden, like he just got, that happened, and it was pretty devastating. I just don't see tonight. I feel like, their momentum is starting to kill them. And listen, I know that the Pelicans have beaten the Kings 5 times this year. It's hard to beat a team 6 times in one season, right? We'll see how that goes. But I'm just going to go out on a limb and pick the Kings, riding the momentum of ending the Golden State Warriors on Tuesday, as lovely as that was. So the first series we will talk about briefly is Kings Thunder. They did split their season series this year, 2 games apiece. I think the Thunder are just a bit of an overwhelming matchup in a sense for now that like they've got to be feeling great. They get the 1 seed, they go out of their way, like they're finishing the season strong. They want to go for the 1 seed. They get it thanks to the San Antonio Spurs. Shout out to Devontae Graham. And they get the 1 seed. And in a sense, a lot of people were thinking they were going to be in a bad spot. It's either there's a chance they could play the Lakers or the Warriors. Well, guess what? They draw neither one of them. I love this matchup for them, especially considering if it is the Kings, considering Monk is out, Herter out as well, but Monk is obviously the one. I mean, Monk could have finished in 1 man of the year this season. He's at least going to probably, I don't know if he's eligible to finish on the short list. I don't know if he would have, if he qualified for enough games. He did play 72 games, but so someone will probably be voting for him or at least putting him on a short ballot. Regardless, with what the Thunder have done this season, Shea has torched them. Their point of attack defense is not good. I just love the matchup for the Thunder. This Thunder team is really good and top 5, I believe, in both offensive and defensive net rating. Top 10, excuse me. With SGA rolling, it's going to be a little clunky at times. The Kings, those games in Sacramento, especially early, will be difficult because it'll be the first road tests for this team as a prohibitive favorite in a series. I think if they get New Orleans, it could be frisky, especially if Zion can play. But because Zion could have the potential to maybe he would be able to actually stare Shea in the eye and go toe-to-toe with him as the best player in the series. I think even as good as De'Aaron Fox is, as Sabonis is, I don't think they have the juice, especially with their, they don't have great defense, especially at the point of attack, like we said, unless they want to roll out Davion Mitchell for a boatload of minutes, which is fine. He's shooting the ball well. I just think you're going to get outgunned by this Thunder team who can score. I think Shea would light them up. So listen, love the Kings, love what they represent, but we are going to pick the Thunder in 6. That is where that is going to come into play in BMS. I knew it. It's all right. We can do this. It can look a little, there we go. And it can look a little wonky. The folks that don't know now know, or that shouldn't know, they know now. We are presented by Durham Remodeling, Ryan Allison Tattoo, and Jared Zook of Country Financial. So yes, there it is. Thunder in 6 over the Kings. Even if it's I'd lean 5 even. Like maybe it's 2-0 going back to Sacramento. Kings win game 3. Thunder kind of find themselves and win game 4 and they win in 5. But I wouldn't be shocked if it's 2-2 and then the Thunder went out regardless. I think the Pelicans would make it a little tougher. I think the Thunder, the 6 games would be more comfortable against Sacramento than it would be against New Orleans, but we're just going to pick the Kings tonight with Zion not in the lineup. All right, moving on to a series that is very interesting. Clippers versus Mavericks. Okay, so there are a multitude of ways you can look at this. The Clippers, it's like, how do you want to judge a team? Do you want to judge a team based on their peaks? Do you want to judge a team based on their lowest points? Or are you someone who takes them both out? And what are they in the middle? Because I think that's how you kind of have to look at this Clippers team. They sucked at the beginning of the year. They were awesome for 31, 32, 33 games in the late first third, early second third of the season. And since the All-Star game, they've been the definition of meh, very, very meh. The defense has absolutely fallen off of a cliff. Their like offense too at one point in the season was insanely efficient, and the ball movement was great, and the style of play that they had was fun, and it was like, man, this Harden trade, it was necessary because it unlocks all of these things. And Russell Westbrook moved to the bench, and now Westbrook's still been great. This is not a slight on Westbrook. Westbrook's still been awesome, but like Westbrook on the bench, the energy he has, and when they lost him early, like right after the All-Star break, he went out and was out for about a month or so. They kind of died off. They missed his energy. And yeah, man, this has been a weird team. This has been a really, really weird team. Now, they finished the season kind of back on a bit of a high note. They finished well. But now what's looming large is the Kawhi Leonard injury. Ho-hum, where have we seen this before, right? Listen, I went into the season and I said I thought the Clippers were going to go to the finals potentially, or win the championship, because I felt they were due and they were finally going to have a string of good luck with injuries. Shows how much I know. Kawhi gets hurt a game and a half into the postseason, and they're cooked. And they obviously, did they not have Paul George either last year in the play? I mean, like, just a cataclysmic, microscope or whatever of errors and bad luck. I go into this season, and I have no inkling on like what the Cavs or the Clippers are. I was like, I'm kind of out on them. I'm just tired of the experiment. They make the Harden trade. I'm like, we've been here before, but then it works, and they look really good. But now to end the season, and Kawhi's hurt again. It's just unfortunate to me. It's sad, and I feel I hate to see it, but it's also at this point, it's like, are we shocked? On the other hand, with Dallas, man, this team has been awesome for what, 2 months now? They have their top 5 in defensive efficiency, not just offense, defensive net efficiency. One of the best defenses in the league over the last, I believe, 20 or so plus games. Kyrie Irving has been awesome since coming back from injury in the middle of the year. And that combination with the trades they made to just bolster their depth. Derek Lively was good as a rookie, but they were tired of having to ride him as their lone real rim runner, rim protector. What do? They go out to get Daniel Gafford, who's been incredible. They bolster their front court depth by adding PJ Washington. Derek Jones Jr. all of a sudden is in a different type of role, and everything makes sense. So I say all that to say this. Knowing what I know about this Mavericks team and how they're playing, knowing what I know about the Clippers and the injury situation, knowing what I know about Luka, who, yes, they lost twice, but as a 21 and 22-year-old, Luka Doncic absolutely flambéed this team in the playoffs. And in my opinion, Kawhi Leonard will not play a single solitary second of a game in this series. My prediction, it's simple. It's easy, and there's no there's no way around it, in my opinion. I think the Mavs beat them, and I think they beat them in 5 games. That is what I have. That is my prediction. Mavs in 5 over the Clippers. I think that without Kawhi, as with how Dallas is playing, they're going to make it very tough for this team to operate, and they could get on them early, and I think it could be a quick series. And then in 2 weeks, when we're sitting here having our eulogy about the Clippers, we're going to be we're going to be conversing, and we're going to be saying, where did it go wrong again? Well, the answer will be easy. It went wrong in the same exact spot it's gone wrong the entire time. All right, moving on to our next series, and this one's fascinating. But when you actually look at those numbers down there at the bottom, Luka against the Clippers in the playoffs, 33.5 points a game, just under 9 boards and 9.5 assists. That's insane considering he did that in his second and third year in the league. It's wild. And Luka very well. I mean, I had him first on my MVP ballot, though I think Jokic is probably going to win it. Luka's season was wild. All right, moving on. Timberwolves, Suns. What a series is going to be. There's a multitude of different ways you can look at this series, and I understand if you look at them in all these ways. Number one, this is a bad matchup for Minnesota. Let's just be frank. I think Minnesota is awesome. Their defense is legit. There is a real universe where that I probably live in that I really wish Cat didn't come back, because man, sometimes trying to force that into your offense and force that back into a system when Minnesota was playing listen, before the Cat injury, they were playing good. You could argue in a way maybe they stepped up when Cat went down. It just unlocked some more stuff. Naz Reid got into a huge rhythm and whatnot. And they still finished, listen, Cat played 2 games, I believe. They beat Atlanta, and then the Suns kind of whacked them. Listen, it's a bad matchup for Minnesota. In their 3 meetings this season, the worst one of them all, really. So the Suns won by 21 to end the regular season. And, I think you can look at that as, I think there was a point in that game where Minnesota kind of just took their foot off the gas late, knowing what was happening. But in the first meeting of the year, back in November, they got the Wolves got smoked. The really ugly one was the early April game, the 97-87 game, where the Wolves, their highest scoring quarter was 26. They scored 20 in 2 different quarters and 21 in the other. They lost 97-87. Just an ugly game that the Wolves could never get off the ground in. And then they lose again by 21 to the Suns. It's a bit of a bad matchup. If the Suns go small, that forces Gobert into a weird side. This is like the one team that can really, outside of maybe if they in a series they played Boston, that could probably do lineup stuff that can screw with what has been one of, if not the best defenses in the league. So I look at that and I say I understand and notice. Now, are we going to see a level up from Anthony Edwards? That is the thing that I'm looking forward here. In the postseason against the Grizzlies in his first go-around, I thought, listen, if you pull the cumulative stats, the numbers are going to at times look a bit wonky. Because we've talked about this season where his good games are great, but his bad games at times, and that's been through his entire career so far, he's done a better job of it lately, but he hasn't been able to shake like where his bad games are 2 for 19 or 4 for 20. If he had a little more 6 for 17s in there instead, missing a lot, or even like a 6 for 21, but gets to the line 15 times. Like those are the things that he needs to do. But without Cat, he started to integrate that stuff. Can he continue to do that in this series? Can he integrate himself and really be that force multiplier that I think he can be? There's a world that exists where he can be the best player in the series. The question is, will it happen? Their defense is going to be important to try to wear down the Suns. We're going to really see, like, will this attempt at a spread and shred offense that Phoenix has versus this grind out defense? We'll see which one works more here in the postseason. Minnesota, game 1 is going to be very important for them. They tip tomorrow at 2:30 Central, 3:30 Eastern. Minnesota, in my opinion, really does need to win game 1 just to get some confidence. I'll also be interested to see if the Cat stuff does not work, like if it's not working, like Naz Reid was awesome once Cat went out. Does Finch, navigate stuff to allow Reid to play more than Cat? That those are going to be some interesting webs as well. My man Bryant Beal says, "Go Suns." Yes, I agree. Listen, man. I've flip flopped on this. My prediction here, I am willing to be wrong on because, I think this is a toss up. This series is going to be awesome. I think it's going to be a long series. I think we're going to go 7, and I'm going to pick the Timberwolves. Do I like that I'm picking Minnesota? Yes and no. Yes, for the fact that I have felt that this team is they have been great all year. I've put them in title bubble all year. I absolutely believe this team could get to the finals. The reason that I struggle is, damn it, this is the one team they do not match up well against. So we'll see. They match up better with Denver probably than Phoenix, because Denver, their style at least plays into what Minnesota wants to do. If the Suns if the Suns get to halftime of game 1 and they're just like, screw it, we're just going to play small ball and we're going to throw lineups out there with Durant at center because Gobert isn't an offensive threat, then I don't know. That could get tough. All right. Last series in the West, and boy, oh boy, what a treat. Denver Nuggets versus the Los Angeles Lakers. Last year, the Nuggets had the closest sweep in the history of the NBA. No, I'm just kidding. But the Denver Nuggets have won, I believe, 8 in a row against Los Angeles. This run that they have been on over, especially this team, a LeBron-led team hasn't won in Denver, I think, in 4+ years. I saw, or I heard that stat somewhere percolate today. All that being said, a lot of different things can be true. Here they are. Here are all the things that can be true in this instance. Number one, the Nuggets, the Nuggets have the Lakers number. Yes. Number two, the Lakers, their best chance to beat them is now compared to later in the series. We'll explain why later, or later in the playoffs. We'll explain why in a minute. And C, as down as I've been on the Lakers this season, they are playing really, really well as of late. Finished the year strong. LeBron's been good. The defense has been good. And there are some things when it comes to this matchup that are very intriguing to me. Let's start number one with the fact that the biggest thing, in my opinion, in this series for the Lakers, because of their style and when their best player is pushing 40, I guess I should say he's recently 39. His birthday's in December or something, I think. He's recently 39, and he's their best player. It's better that what this would probably be if they am I saying if they beat the Nuggets, would they make the finals? It's on the board. I think though they'd probably lose to Oklahoma City. They would give Dallas some problems. I think the Thunder would beat them, but man, that'd be tough. But regardless, if they do win this series, they'll be probably the betting favorite to get out of the West. It's better that they're playing them earlier than late. And the reason is this team is older. Mainly LeBron is older. You have days off. You have more days off in between games. You can be fresh. They got down, the games last year in the conference finals against the Nuggets. LeBron is worn down like crazy in the fourth quarters. He was bad in the fourth quarters. And the Nuggets destroyed them in the clutch. So, which we all knew, that's what the Nuggets do. But each of those games were toss-ups. Midway through the fourth quarter, and then the Nuggets just absolutely slammed the door on their face. The biggest key in this series, if the Lakers have a chance, if they want to have a chance, is D'Angelo Russell has to be playable. And not just, I lied, not just playable. D'Angelo Russell has to be awesome. He's had a really good year. He was awesome the other night against New Orleans. But these moments where he just kind of falls asleep and his attention to detail is bad and his decision making's off, like you can't have that against these guys. Against Denver last season, he was non-playable. He was unplayable last year in the conference finals against Denver. Schroeder last year is their backup point guard. Like you at times could get away with it. They can't get away with that now, especially considering how good of a spot up shooter he's been this year. So, if you want to run your offense mainly through LeBron or let Austin Reeves create, you can have D'Angelo be a spot-up shooter. He's also done really well as a pick-and-roll ball handler this season, so you can allow him to create that way as well. Like, Russell has to be awesome if the Lakers are going to win this series. The only concerns you have for Denver are really, they looked a little clunky down the stretch. But I do believe that this team is going to be buttoned up. Listen, if I had to bet right now, I'm picking the Nuggets to win the title still. I think that there has been a level of inevitability at times when you see them in their biggest games and they kind of flip the switch. But they've had a couple weird moments at times here in the second half and later stages of the year. They were dominant, post All-Star break, and then they had a couple weird, with the Jamal Murray injury, certain things here or there that are head scratching. But I think this team is still awesome. I think the series though is going to be really good. But listen, I think you can also argue the Nuggets probably would rather play someone else than the Lakers in the first round. The Nuggets probably would rather play New Orleans or Sacramento or the Warriors, but it's going to be fun. This series is going to be just box office TV. I think the Lakers do win a couple games, not the series. Their chance to win the series is they cannot be down 0-2. Trying to win 4 or 5 against this team is going to be so damn hard. If it's tied at 1 going to LA, that's their path. Especially for the fact that, as I mentioned before, they got swept last year. They have not won a game against them this season. They've lost 8 in a row against these guys. 7 in a row, whatever it is. They have to win one of these first 2 games for confidence. So, all in all, I say Nuggets in 6. I think this team is destined to go on another big run. Though the path this year definitely going to be a bit harder. They're going to play the Lakers. If they beat them, they're either playing the Suns, who have been really good against them, or the Wolves, who have also been really good against them. And then they're going to play either the Thunder, who were awesome against them, or the Mavs or Clippers, which, if the Clippers get there, obviously you got to feel like they're healthy and ready to rock. But man, all in all, those are some, it's going to be tougher for the Nuggets this year, in my opinion, but I think the Nuggets get it done in this series is going to be really good. Okay. Want to mention to everybody, want to let you guys know, thank our gambling partner, our betting partners, and we are powered by Outlier. Want a better insight for all your bets? Outlier.bet is the app for you. Outlier.bet gives you the insight on props, spreads, totals, and even parlays for over 7 major sports. Outlier works with multiple sports books to show you the best odds available to help make you the most money possible. Try Outlier for free today with the link down in our comments section on Facebook. And some of the things that you can do with Outlier, do you want to they do stuff where you can get insight on certain, like we talked about with certain things. Like, for instance, tonight Jimmy Butler is not playing for the Heat. You can try to look up some stats when it comes to how the Heat have played without Jimmy Butler, or where are some things maybe you can lean with some statistics You can find all of those different things through Outlier. Again, try Outlier for free today with the link in our comment section. So, another thing that we were, as we see there, producer Danny on the ones and twos, throwing some stuff up there. Look at all of these. Look at all this different stuff we got up there. Tonight, the Heat come in as 1.5-point favorites at home, even against the potential hapless Kobe White-led Chicago Bulls. But it should be fun. These games tonight should be very interesting. Also, Danny, if you want to let me know in the chat if you have posted our lock of the day yet. We've been posting them online, and you can find it now on our friends at Beat the Book. Want a space where you can interact with pro bettors? Beat the Book is the app for you. Beat the Book is a social media betting app where you can follow your favorites. You can follow your favorite cappers and get all their picks sent directly to your phone. Download Beat the Book today and follow us at the link in the comments, or if you go to our Twitter page too. We're interacting with them all the time. We mentioned our locks of the day. We're 4-0 on the week. Danny is just going off right now, so we're trying to stay hot. Follow all the stuff that right now, if you see on the screen, is our outlier bets. Is our outlier. That was our outlier link. This right here is our Beat the Book link. So it's also in the comments and in the description on our Facebook and YouTube. So make sure you guys go to that for all of your gambling needs. All right, let's take a drink from the Chalice of Supremacy. Shout out to Josh Pate. Okay. Danny, we're doing good so far, I think. Thumbs up in the producer chair. There we go. He gave me 2 thumbs up. Let's keep cooking. First time we have done it this way, but hey, this is fun. I'm enjoying life. All right. Let's keep it rolling. Sometimes I even help Danny with doing the producer stuff and click some buttons while he's scrolling. Here we go. All right. So I think the Bulls are going to win tonight. Maybe I just want to see Kobe White try to beat teams by himself. It's fun, damn it. Sorry, Nicole. Sorry, honey. I'm picking against your Heat again. Jimmy Butler's out. I listen, it's not karma or anything because you hate to see a guy get hurt, but this is a world of this team never takes they are just like living and dying by we can just have a horrible roster. We can just have all of these hard-working, grit and determined guys. Now the roster is better than last year, but they kind of just so last year's roster played out of its ass to get to the finals. This year's roster played about the same. They did not get better, and the entire league got better. Hence why, again, they're the 8th seed. Jimmy is hurt. They could still win tonight, but either way, who I'm picking it to be the Bulls, because in my opinion, it would just be more fun. But whoever wins this game, they are being led like lambs to the slaughterhouse, or whatever the proverbial saying is, because Boston is on a mission and the Celtics are going to destroy them. There is not much analytics, behind this, behind like the matchup of whether it's the Heat, even though the Heat kind of, they're the Celtics boogeyman in a sense. Even if it was the Heat at full strength, I think the Celtics would stuff them in a cannon like Evel Knievel and shoot them into the body of water that's by Boston or whatever that the Tea Party thing happened. I don't know what the hell the body of water is called. I don't know science or social studies or whatever class that was. History, world history. I feel like a moron sometimes when I speak. The harbor, that's what it is. Yeah, they would put the Heat. They would stuff Tyler Hero into a cannon and shoot him into the Boston Harbor. All that being said, there's a fun thing that I'm going to ask Danny later when he jumps in about the Celtics. So, Danny, make sure you remind me to ask you that because I'm curious on your thoughts behind it. I think the Celtics are on a mission. I think it's I don't think they're going to be challenged until the conference finals, and depending on who they play there, they might not be challenged in that either. It's going to be a very tough. Danny's being sassy. Uh, it's going to be very tough for some of these teams because the gap is so wide. Their point differential is historic. Their offensive rating is historic. Tatum's got the best net in the league. Like, every analytical thing, every eye test thing states how dominant this team is. They've had more 30-point leads than 10-point deficits, or 30-point wins than 10-point losses this season. It's insanity. Like, if only they didn't have a couple really dumb losses, like they blew some games this year where they were up huge, they could have won 68 games. I think the Bulls win. We put the graphic up officially. Or I think, or not the Bulls. I think the Celtics win. I think they roll. I think whoever it is, even though I think it's going to be even though I think it's going to be the Bulls, it could be the Heat, and I still think that it's going to be just a one-sided. It's going to be the Bulls would be bringing boxing mitts to a gunfight. Most teams would anyway against the Celtics. So yeah, Celtics in 4 in round 1. I think it's pretty mathematic there. Moving on, this could very well this is going to be the NBA TV series, but hey man, it's going to be fun. Cavs and Magic round 1. I think I'm going to lean with my homer Orlando Magic. This series is going to be very rock fighty. The Cavs ended the year so bad. We talked earlier about how do you want to take your teams. If you take out the stretch where the Cavs went like 17-1 or 18-1 or whatever it was, this team's been insanely bad. Or not bad. They've been insanely average, especially like when healthy. They were best this year when guys out of their big 4 were hurt. They're all currently healthy. So unless like Darius Garland's getting kidnapped tomorrow and they're going to tell Evan Mobley that the games are in the wrong building, I don't think the Magic have a huge advantage because, listen, there is going to be a factor of the Cavs last season got punked so bad that they're going to want to get back. They're going to want to get over that hump because the Knicks last year absolutely bullied them. Like, it was not embarrassing, but my God, they punked them last season. It was terrible that they lose in 5. It was just so bad. Oh my gosh. But it's these games because of how good Orlando's defense is and how bad the offense is for Cleveland. Now listen, Orlando's offense is not great either. I just think that Orlando is going to find more avenues. And are we sure Donovan Mitchell isn't already like looking up Brooklyn addresses on Zillow or Miami addresses on Zillow? Like, are we sure Donovan Mitchell isn't halfway out the door? Because if I had to guess, he probably is. He's too. Danny said in the chat he's too rich for Brooklyn. I mean, he probably is, but hey, listen, somebody's got to play for the Nets. They're going to start the two of us, partner, and my roommate and my girlfriend, and then your girlfriend will be the 6th off the bench. Us 5 and Mikal Bridges. That's their lineup. That's their lineup plan next year. Yeah, my roommate Danny just yelled, "Good luck." The Nets are a disaster. So hey, who knows? Buck. And Buck. Okay, listen, we would still need luck. Buck would be their 3rd best player on the Nets right now. That's our dog, behind Cam Thomas and his 22 points a game. By the way, that I didn't know. Why are we talking about the Nets? Anywho, yeah, man, I think the Magic. Listen, call me a homer. Call me what you want. I'm so excited to see this team on this stage. There was a bit of a weird end of the year. They had the bad loss to the Rockets, and they lose to the Bucks. They go to Philadelphia and get beat, and then they overcome it. They beat the shit out of Milwaukee to end the regular season. And they've done all of these things, and their second best player, Franz Wagner, has not had a great year. I think Paolo on this stage, hopefully we'll get 28 minutes a game of Jonathan Isaac instead of like 17 minutes a game of Jonathan Isaac, because he might be the best defensive player in the entire league. I think the Magic win in 6. These games are going to be ugly, but they're going to be fun and tight and competitive to try to watch this Orlando team figure out this life. And I'm so excited to see Paolo Banchero on this stage. He is easily already one of the 20 best players in the league. And what an opportunity for him. What an opportunity for this franchise to just continue to elevate. And I think this is going to be a fantastic matchup. As personally as a Magic fan, this is who I wanted them to play in round 1. We'll find out quickly if I don't die first. We'll find out very quickly if it's famous last words. Okay. What series is next? The 3-6 in the East is the Bucks and the Pacers. So we mentioned Kawhi Leonard not playing. The Pacers, who beat the Bucks 5 times this year, but if I'm not mistaken, so 2 things. One, the only game that Milwaukee won was the game Giannis had like 64 points. And it also involved the running down the hallway to steal the ball fiasco. The Pacers blasted them in the regular season. I think this matchup is bad for Milwaukee. I really do. It's not that I would pick against them if Giannis played, but it's not like they're a heavy favorite. If you go on to most betting sites, they're underdogs in the series, and it makes sense because they finished the street. They were 4-5, as you see on our ticker without Giannis. They were 20-21 to finish the season. Like, it's crazy to think how this team has had, like, the year that they've had, and they've actually won 49 games, where it feels like all year we've been talking about how bad this team has been. Maybe it's just because of due to the expectations we thought that they could have. And listen, the NBA is cruel. Sports in general are cruel, but there's a fine line between winning and losing. And I still remember personally, because I was at this game where Chris Middleton got hurt. Game 2 against the Bulls 2 years ago. And going into that postseason run, it felt like Milwaukee was going to potentially repeat. Like, they were not the heavy favorites, but they were the favorites. And they do some weird stuff at the end of the year to dodge a matchup because they didn't want to play Brooklyn in round 1. So they end up the 3 seed, which even though Middleton gets hurt, they win that series. And then they play Boston. They go up 3-2 against Boston. And then Game 6, Jason Tatum has the game of his life. And Game 7, Grant Williams and Peyton Pritchard hit 6.3 billion threes in Game 7. And the Bucks have not come close since. If they win that series, so they basically punted on a Game 7 at home, all of that leads to Middleton getting hurt, then blowing a 3-2 series lead because Tatum had the at the time game of his life, and then this black swan event of Grant Williams just going sub-nuclear or whatever the fuck. And the Bucks last year, Giannis gets hurt in Game 1. Middleton really hasn't been the same ever since. And now this season, Middleton's still in and out of the lineup after last year. The loss to the Heat. The Heat loss was so bad. We talked about that ad nauseum. They make the Dame trade without really doing anything else around the fringes on the roster. Drew's gone. Dame is in. Middleton's still in and out of the lineup. And their numbers are so weird because the beginning of the year, their defense was terrible. But when you look all season, they have the best 5-man lineup in the league. But at the end of the day, especially without Giannis, and you just look at this roster, they have like so many sub-level athletes This roster is slow. It's old. They don't have shot creation. And I think Indiana's going to beat them. And that's even with Tyrese Halliburton, who's really not been himself since he got hurt midway through the year. He got hurt. He came back probably a little too soon because he was trying to make All-NBA, which he did, and he's going to, and he's deserving. At least he made All-NBA on my ballot. But the Siakam edition was big for them. I think the Pacers are going to win, mainly because I don't think Giannis is going to play a game. And if he does, he's going to be compromised. Like, what if the Pacers win the first 2 games? Going to Indiana. You already know that place is going to be a zoo. Why on earth would you bring Giannis back? And potentially, last year could be unless he asked for a trade this offseason, which I don't think he would, unless Dame did. Next year is probably the last opportunity that this version, like the Giannis iteration of the Bucks has. I don't know why the Bucks would try to ruin that by playing him with this injury if they go down 0-2, which I think is on the board, unless Dame turns into like 2018 Damian Lillard and averages like 42 a game or something, which I don't see happening, even though, yes, the Pacers defense is bad, but I don't know, man. I think the Pacers are going to win. The right team is favored, and man, it's crazy how all of these things have come for the Bucks over the last 2 years, and here we are. Good for Indiana, though. They've probably been licking their chops, and I know Doc's a veteran coach, and Damian Lillard is an all-timer, but they're going to have a chip on their shoulder because they've been told all week how they're going to lose this series, but at the end of the day, it's about Jimmys and Joes sometimes, and X's and O's also, and just all of those things. That's a stat. Even for a team that's not good on defense like Indiana, they give up the 6th least points to point guards. Listen, man, it's a tough matchup, dude. Tough-ass matchup for Milwaukee. If they won, I would be genuinely stunned. Unless Giannis comes back, listen, granted, we all thought Giannis blew his knee out before the 2021 finals. He came back and was Superman. So maybe Giannis dodges like severe injuries and comes back as a god, which could have been like if he comes back after game 2 and it's 1-1 and then Giannis just averages 40, you know what? I'll eat that one because Giannis is an all-time great, literally all-time great. I just don't think that'll happen. All right, final series here. Eat your heart out, Knicks fans. Knicks, Sixers. Holy Moses. Sixers kind of survived. I think I put the Sixers on my last Title Pie edition. I also thought that they would be the 6th seed. But I thought that also could come with them playing the Knicks. This is going to be a long series. It's going to be a fascinating series. The question is going to be how healthy can Embiid be? I wonder. There's 2 paths where the Embiid injury could go while he's playing. He's either completely limited and just can't really move and can't do much, and he's a non-factor, or if Embiid turns into a floater and he's able to be efficient with his jump shot, it's not a more dangerous version of him, but it's still pretty scary. Like, say Embiid just turns into like this mid-range and pick and pop 3-point shooter while trying to avoid the post-up area against this Knicks team. And what say Joel Embiid does? Like, what if Joel Embiid shoots 63% from the field in the series? And, he shoots 65, 45, 90 in the series. It could happen. That could absolutely happen if he just gets into a rhythm. But it could also turn into if he's not hitting his shots at all, then that's where they're screwed. Embiid against the Knicks, 32 points a game. Listen, even this limited version of him is averaging like 29 a game since he came back. They haven't lost. I believe I have the Knicks in 7, right, Danny? I have the Knicks in 7, right? I do. Knicks in 7. That that sad Embiid meme. That breaks my heart. Joel Embiid's my favorite player, and Danny just wants to stick the knife in me with that damn meme. Oh well. Listen, I am excited for this series. It's going to be so close, back and forth, nip and tuck. And I think the Knicks ultimately will prevail. It's going to be damn fascinating. The question is going to be if the Sixers have an extra gear to go to where Tom Thibodeau's teams are always at like eighth gear, and sometimes their eighth gear isn't as good as other teams' eighth gear. So we'll see. That'll be interesting. But this Knicks team is also really awesome. Even though I think they're a year away from being a legitimate championship contender, I think this Knicks team is great. And I'm going to pick them to beat this Sixers team in this round. But I think it's going to be very close, depending on how good Embiid is. All right. We are going to take a very quick break. We will come back. We will get some best bets for tonight. Julius Randle's the GOAT, apparently. We'll tell you why he's the GOAT. Producer Danny is going to come hang out with us next. He's going to give us the ones and twos on what to look for tonight and maybe some playoff futures. Woohoo! We'll have that and more next. This is the Educated Ignorance Podcast on the For Frequency's Sake Podcast Network.
Football season may be over, but For Frequency's Sake still has you covered for all your sporting needs. Tune in every Sunday when the best professional wrestling podcast around, Cards Subject to Change, gets you caught up on everything inside the ropes. They won't miss a count with weekly analysis and interviews. More into auto racing? We've got a double dose for you on the track. Tune in to Fast Money with Rod Villagomez each week and win some money with the quickest bets in all of sports. Want more insight from Pit Row? Check out the Green, White, and Checkered podcast where they give their insight on everything happening on and off the track. Need your basketball fix? Points in the Paint has you covered with live shows every other week looking at everything in the association. Backed by popular demand, we have the return of The Payoff Pitch, FFSQC's baseball show, covering you on news around the MLB. If you're missing football, don't fret. Mark and Dan still have you covered in the football lounge. Missing Joe Winkle? Probably not, but he's still here talking sports on Educated Ignorance. Football season might be over, but we've still got you covered. For frequency's sake, you know what we mean.
For Frequency's Sake is brought to you by Durham Remodeling, serving the Quad City area's remodeling and repair needs since 1973. Clint's Draft House, grab a bite and a pint. 7th Street Moline. Lopez, New York-style pizza served up by the slice or pie, Davenport. Lifted Energy, energy drinks, coffee, donuts, and more, #GetLifted. Atomic Sports Cards and Collectibles, sports cards and memorabilia, vintage clothing, hats, pennants, and more. Ryan Allison Tattoo, step into the vibrant world of tattoos with Ryan Allison. And A Cut Above, offering quality custom woodwork designed specifically around our customers.
All right, we are here. Danny has joined us in the cut, as the kids say.
No kid has ever said that since like before we were kids.
No, in the cut. That Wiz Khalifa made a song called "In the
I've
Cut."
never
Man.
heard anyone say "in the cut" in my life.
All right, so I'm going to add this. If you want to edit the banner, that's fine. I'm just going to do that. So there we go. We look properly prompted. Now, tell our friends here listening with us or watching why Julius Randle's the GOAT.
Yeah, so was at work today, and we were screwing around. There wasn't anything to do, and our boss runs back there and says, "Hey, Julius Randle's at the register." And we thought it was like his way of just like, "Oh, go get back to work. Like, go to the register." So we're like, "Okay, well," and we walk over there, and as I turn the corner, there's big 6'9" Julius Randle just looking at me, asking me where something was, and I just stopped. I was like, "Oh, you're Julius Randle." He said, "I know." And he said, "So where's this at?" And so I showed him where it was at, and I asked him, I was like, "Hey, can I just get a photo with you?" So I got to like meet Julius Randle today. He was probably one of like the chillest people I've met, especially the job I work at. So no, he was generally like, there's a lot of like celebrities that come around our area, my area, New York, and a lot of them are kind of snobby, and he's just very humble and chill, from like not just my interaction, but other people like have seen him in the past and said the same thing. So no, I love Julius Randle to begin with. So this was just like I was almost shaking. I was like, holy shit, like you're real, like you're not just that guy I watch at Madison Square Garden and I yell at because you brick every three. But
because you're 2 for your last 20 on 15.
Brother, do you know how
15-foot
funny
pull-up jump shots?
We went to a preseason game, and he goes to take a step back, and the whole crowd went, no! At the same time.
Bro, did you watch any of the Philadelphia game against Miami? Bro, the Sixers fans were in peak Philadelphia fandom.
Oh, yeah.
It got to the point where Tobias Harris was taking shots and the entire crowd was booing the shit out of him.
Oh, yeah.
Now, granted, Tobias Harris was also missing shots. Like if I would have been more dialed into that game, I probably would have been tweeting about how Tobias Harris was like he was either faded or cross-faded or drank like a fifth of vodka before the game because my man's was hitting like bottom of the backboard on his 3-point jump shots.
Yeah, he was struggling. Yeah, I hate that because I like Tobias Harris.
I do too. I love Toby, and he's been good this year mostly, but yeah, he was bad. He was awful the other night. So anywho, all of that said, how have you enjoyed your first show as producer?
It's been fun. I'm like slightly behind because like as soon as I get done finding the stat I'm trying to put up, you're already on to the next team. And I was just like, oh, I'm going to delete all this. Listen, I've been working on for 5 minutes.
This is fun. This is our first one.
No, it's been good. It's been good.
I'll come in more.
Like it.
When we have like these will be a little shorter during the actual playoffs next week because there'll be a bit. We won't be talking about 8 fucking series. It'll probably be just a few games.
Yeah, before games a day that we go over.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, absolutely. I'm I think this has been exciting. Nice to have you kind of throw some stuff out there. Now, speaking of out there, I basically made 2 predictions tonight with I think the Bulls and the Kings are going to win. I know it's very bad posture to pick both road teams who are dogs because one of them's probably going to lose, but I don't know, just a vibes play. Where are you at? Are you on anything you're playing this weekend or at least maybe tonight? Do you have any sort of lean towards these games here tonight?
So I don't personally like taking any spreads that are below 3. If it's a spread where one shot can change the outcome from a win to a loss, I usually just take the money line straight up. I think play-in games historically, since they came in, have about a 70% win rate on the under. So I'm always looking at that, but these are teams that, the best way I can explain it, 2 of the teams playing tonight do not have an identity when it comes to pace. Like we see the Kings, they always play at this super high pace. We see Miami kind of play at their little methodical pace, but if there's a shot available, the Bulls and the Pelicans this whole year have been at a kind of I'm playing at the level of the team. I'm matching the energy of the team I'm playing. And I never like betting on over-unders when that's the case because you could see a game where, the Kings start off slow and the Pelicans just ease into the game. And they just, take their time. They don't have Zion. They don't have their big body down low. So we could see a slower paced offense because when they let him run the point, they were running pretty quick. And the Bulls have kind of it all depends on how fast Kobe White gets going. If he gets going, they're shooting like crazy. But if he's struggling, they're letting DeRozan kind of work his little mid-range game, and they're going to take 15, 20 seconds on the shot clock each time. So I stayed away from everything, but I had 3 player props I really liked tonight. Before I get into it, for anyone listening and watching, these were all posted on Beat the Book and our Winning Edge Discord. All the links will be on Gotham Gambling as well as they're posted over on For Frequency's Sake. We posted these about 3 hours ago, so lines may have changed since then. Everything we do on Beat the Book gets texted directly to your phone, so you don't even have to open the app once you follow us. You get all the notifications straight from your phone, and we have more plays on a VIP. It's just $1 a day, so you guys can try it this weekend for just $2. See how you guys like it for all the first weekend of NBA playoffs, and if you guys like it from there, we can just keep, and you can keep it going. But with that being said, there's 3 I love. The first one I love is Valanciunas over 11.5 points. This line's kind of moved up and down. Some books have it at 12 right now. Some have it at 11. I caught this at 11. Valanciunas has been in a weird position where they have not played him since they've went to this point Zion style of play. But without Zion in the lineup,
I was going to say there's moments where he's not in their closing 5 normally.
No, not even in their like playing 5. They'll start him for 8 minutes and then they switch to Trey Murphy and Nance.
Yep.
But this season without Zion, he's hit this line in 10 of his 12 games. Against the Kings, a team that he has dominated because Sabonis just has not been able to play defense against this guy historically. He's 3 for 3 on his points line. His last 10 games without Zion, he's 9 for 10. His last 15, 11 for 15, and his last 30, 20 for 30. So he's got about a 67% win rate on this bet. I like it tonight because I think the way they're playing and the way McCollum is shooting, the way Ingram's playing, there's going to be a lot of drop-off opportunities and a lot of checkdowns, and he's gonna take that opportunity and run with it. So I like his points here. I'm willing to take a final risk on Valanciunas before I put him in the burn notice.
I love that.
For the Bulls game, I do like Coby White over 20.5 points, mainly because this season, I look at this as when he was playing without LaVine, because I looked at this head to head. The 2 games that he played against the Heat without Zach LaVine this year, do you know how many points he scored?
I was just about to ask the correlation with that, because I was going to ask, are you worried about a play like that? Because he scored 42 and was awesome the other night. Mm-hmm. He's been great this year, but the Hawks play no defense. Like, I would score like 8 points. I would get at least 3 baskets against the Hawks.
So
what did he score in their games against the
without Zach LaVine, when it was just him and DeMar DeRozan, he's averaging 35 points a game against the Heat in his career.
Okay, so then I like that play.
So with that, not only I get it, the Heat, this could be a slow scoring game, and again, this is why I the only Bulls props I tend to take are rebounds for Vucevic and Drummond, because it's usually a guarantee almost every night. But I love this play tonight solely because their best defensive player is not there. They might start Jovic. We don't know if Duncan Robinson's going to be playing. We don't really know who's going to play the 3 for this team. That's going to lead to either Kevin Love or some player who's not as defensively efficient on DeRozan, which means you're going to see a Tyler Hero, you're going to see a Terry Rozier, a Kyle Lowry, who 2 of those 3 I would argue are good defensive players, but the way Coby White's been playing, it's hard to stop him. Now, granted, the last 2 times that they played the Heat were when Coby White was going through that stretch where he was putting up 30 points a game every single night. So it's been since December since they've played, but again, I still do like the spot for them. I think with no Jimmy Butler, not just no Jimmy Butler, but I think this team is a team that you could force them to run. And without Zach LaVine, we see his shots going up. And this isn't just a regular season game where it's, oh, my shot's not going in. I'm going to take the night off. This is do or die. If DeRozan's not hitting and if Coby White is like 3 for 15 in the first half, he's still going to be flinging in the second half as long as the game's close. That's the thing with a lot of these props is you have to look at not just the hit rate, not just the matchup. You have to look at the desperation. Where if Coby White doesn't get going, his season's over. Their whole season's over if he doesn't get going and he's struggling. It's like when you see like Kevin Durant go shoot 40 shots or Booker shoot 40 shots in a playoff game, because if they don't make it, it could mean their season. So I think he's going to at least hit 20. I'm not saying he's going to go off for 40 again. I would be very shocked if he does, but I would give him 22, 23.
Yeah, no, the stat that he's gone off, is impressive. Anything that you've looked for this? Oh, go ahead.
So I got one more. It's my favorite one.
Okay.
Instead of taking McCollum's 3-point prop, I took it a little bit differently. Instead of taking his over 3.5, I took him to make the most threes in the game tonight. There's no Malik Monk, no Kevin Huerter. You're gonna have Larry Nance.
If they win, he's gotta, right?
But that's the thing is, there's gonna be too many drive downs with Ingram. You have to, and he's gonna be running the point. When he's running point, he shoots more. Because we even saw it back in Portland when Dame was out and he was running the point, he was just pulling up. If you take his 3-point prop for him to get 4, he's like minus 118. If you take him to make the most threes in the game, the only player that's projected to be close to him is Keegan Murray. He has to outshoot Keegan Murray, who, if Keegan Murray is cold, they're going to bench him. And it's plus 300.
Now, granted, Keegan Murray did have like 9 threes the other night, but can he do it on the road in a big game? We'll see.
Exactly.
Murray the other night against Golden State was awesome.
And I love Keegan Murray, so that's why I was just like,
yeah, he was incredible the other night, man. My God, like, do you like my play with the what does a Kings Bills money line parlay win you tonight?
Let me check our handy dandy outlier. All right, let's see.
Yeah, here we go. Let's say Joe wants to fire up some dogs.
If you take the dogs, it's plus 300 on FanDuel, plus 300 on all books combined.
No, hey man, listen, I think that's a decent little way to spend some, why not throw something at a wall?
Right, yeah. But I do have some series props and some stuff that I was just looking at, not just stuff I like, but stuff that there's definite value. And if you take all 3 of these and one of them hits, you're guaranteed at least a profit.
All right, bang them out right quick.
My first one is I took the Nuggets to win game 1 of the series and Nuggets to win the series as a parlay. It's minus 160 on DraftKings. Put $10 on that to win. I'm just about $6 back, not too much. Obviously, LeBron and them struggle in Denver. It's very hard to beat Denver in Denver, and Denver has kind of had an iffy season away from home, so they're going to want to and need to win the first 2 games if they don't want to risk a 6-7 game series the way they've played on the road. So I'm taking them to win game 1 and win the series. And we also have 3 conference finalist prediction props. I have the Celtics versus the Knicks as the Eastern Conference Finals matchup. It's plus 310 on DraftKings. The Knicks, if they get past Philly, they're going to have an injured Bucks team, or they're going to have a Pacers team that they've played very well against, and a very inexperienced Pacers team outside of Siakam. I think after last year's meltdown, the Knicks are not. I don't see any team other than the Celtics getting past the Knicks right now.
Yeah,
I truly don't, and that's not just a bias. I like watching them play. They fill every role that's needed perfectly, and they know what they need to do to win.
I agree with you.
And especially with you got 6-7 players that are playing 48 minutes a night in the regular season. So what's going to happen in game 6 of a playoff when Halliburton's on minute 45? When Maxi's on 45 and you got Hart and DiVincenzo not even breaking a sweat yet.
That's a great point. That's a good point. I agree with that.
Jeff Teague said it best. They're built for this. They're built for 5 guys playing all 48 minutes. And that's what you're going to get from this team if need be.
And they're healthier. They are healthier now than they've been in a long time. The only guy they're missing is Julius. But you could argue at times that you'll take the risk of not having Julius Randle in a playoff game, even though he's our best friend today. And shout out to Julius Randle. But bad Julius Randle is like suicide to your hopes. So
right. And my last 2, I have the Nuggets making the conference finals. I have the Suns beating the Timberwolves, but I don't see the Nuggets losing to the Suns. If you think that the Nuggets are not going to make the conference finals, you can get Suns to make the conference finals at plus 1,200.
Wow.
And the Timberwolves at plus 18. But I have two. I have either the Thunder or the Mavericks facing the Nuggets. The Thunder to face them in the conference finals is plus 370. The Mavericks is plus 450. If you think the Clippers can pull it out, it's plus 800. So all three of those, if you put $10 on each on the conference finalist one, the least amount of profit you'll get back is $11.
There you go. So there you go. That is some good stuff, some good futures. Here was my question about Boston, and then if we can wrap this up unless you have anything else.
No, I have to go to bed.
Over, if I set the line at 3.5, over under 3.5 games, the Celtics will lose in the Eastern Conference playoffs. I can't set it at 4.5 because that's too easy. So it has to be 3.5.
I'm gonna say over.
You think over?
I think over because all right, you look at if Miami makes it, they're gonna sneak a game. They're not gonna get swept.
Not without Butler though.
With this
think
is
they would
Eric,
get-
you got to remember this is Eric Spoelstra. Eric Spoelstra is like Bill Belichick. He'll find a guy at Home Depot that can give him 14 and 10. And as we've seen from Tatum, he'll have those nights where he gets 50, but then there's those nights where he can't hit the basket. And if we saw last year, there's just those nights where everyone can't hit the basket.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And their clutch numbers are not their clutch game leaves some stuff to be desired.
I think it's great they built this team around that to where if Tatum doesn't have a good night, you have Drew Holiday who can put up 20 if need be. You have Porzingis who can give you 20 and 10 on a regular basis.
Yeah, he's a matchup nightmare.
I think even if it's the Bulls, I think the Bulls can sneak one on the road. You know, those 3-0, like, oh, we're not really gonna try because we're just gonna go back home and beat you on our home court and rest guys and
yeah, the gentleman
vibe.
Game.
Yeah, like
no, I get what you're saying.
But the next round they have either Cleveland or Orlando. Orlando beat them twice by like 20 plus both times.
They
like,
did.
Not even like on Boston's home court, cooked them by 30. Mm-hmm. So like this, like with a fully healthy Tatum and Brown, like this, and it's the Orlando and OKC both remind me of the Diamondbacks, just to give a baseball reference, of this young team that's got nothing to lose. So why not us upset the number 1 seed?
So you think you're with me on Orlando beating Cleveland?
I think so. I put Cleveland at a level of an even better Pelicans team because when they're all together, they are one of the most dominant teams in the league, but they don't stay healthy enough to gain that chemistry.
True. It's just been weird because they've been better when guys have been out, but and I don't know, their vibes are just super bad. My reasoning for Boston is I feel like they're going to, like last year they had those moments, like they're up 3-1 at home against Atlanta and they let go of the rope and have to play a game 6. They, they lose a couple games here or there against Philadelphia. Maybe they shouldn't have. I just feel like the way this team has played, their mindset, it might be different where I feel like they're going to be in kill mode from the go. And I think the only team in the East that can actually hang with them and make them sweat is New York right now.
So I have them, whoever they play, it's either 4-0, 4-1. I don't think they get out unless I'll give them 5 maybe if it's Orlando or Cleveland. But if they get the Knicks if they get the Sixers or the Pacers, they're winning in 5 in the conference finals. If they get the Bucks or the Knicks, because by that point, if they're that far in, Giannis is fully healthy.
Yes.
I say it goes 6. Even if the Celtics win or if they lose, it goes 7. If they win, it goes 6. I don't see them getting to the conference final. If they get to the championship without going to a game 6, then they lose the championship is how I see it, because then they're going to hit game 5, game 6, where it's not like, oh, we're up 3-1. Oh shit, we're tied 2-2. And they're going to be like, oh God, we haven't gotten hit with this yet.
Yeah. And I think I think it's Nuggets Celtics, and I think the Nuggets are going to win, but that's conversations down the road. But I also think if they get to the finals and lose to Denver, there's nothing to be ashamed of there. So, all right. Yeah, that's just a fun little question. I would pick the over, but slightly, because I think they'll probably lose. They'll probably go 8-1 through the first 2 rounds, and then the next, if they get there, will play tough. But who knows? I say all of that, and the Bulls could beat them in 7 in round 1. So, hallelujah, etc. All right.
What a game that would be.
Yeah.
A Bull, like, not just because of where the Bull, but like historically, a Bulls Celtics game 7, and then you just look at the lineups and you're like, oh.
And with everything on the line, like, how is this Celtics team, this historic regular season team?
Tell your grandkids the best playoff game you saw involving the Bulls and the Celtics was DeMar DeRozan and Drew Holiday trading punches.
Hey man, listen, we're all for it. All right, that's gonna do it. Like I said, this will be the longest version of these that we have. We'll be starting a little bit earlier too. We had to get some finite details mapped out today. So we thank everybody that hung out. Again, check out our partners at Outlier and Beat the Book. Thanks to our sponsors, Durham Remodeling, Ryan Allison Tattoo, and Jared Zook. Next, we'll be back. We will be back Monday. You guys have a show Sunday, correct?
I don't think we're doing it this week. I think Drew has somewhere to go, but I might still be trying. I might try to do a best bets on Sunday.
Okay, there you go.
In the morning, so we might have a golden ticket show coming out this weekend to get you guys kind of prepped for the games that start at 1:00.
There we go. Baseball, hockey playoffs this weekend. Holy shit, there's so many things to go at. Thanks to everybody who hung out. Thanks to everybody follow us on all our socials. NFL mock draft we did the other day. Go watch that if you're preparing for the mock drafts. We're going to do another mock draft on TikTok next week, leading you up to the draft. Our NFL Draft Live show is next week. Danny, in a word, we are contenting. It's not a word. But he is now producer Danny. We're just going to get a beanie that says producer on it. I am Joe the Showink. I want to thank everybody that hung out with us. This has been the Educated Ignorance Podcast. If you ain't got your game, you best pass the sticks. We'll see you guys on Monday. Till then, have a fantastic playoff weekend. We'll see you guys Monday night. Peace.